In this video we're going to cover the wide depth of various kayak accessory makers and man, the hundreds of products that they make. What's up everybody, welcome to Fishing with Gramps. My name is JT. Today we're continuing our beginner kayak series for those who just got into kayak fishing. Rather than list off hundreds and hundreds of kayak accessories that are available today, I'm going to go through some of my favorite brands to get you started on accessorizing your fishing kayak. Now over here I have my Old Town Sportsman paddle kayak. Over here I have my Old Town Autopilot, affectionately known as my Yakattack. Wherever you're at in your kayak fishing journey, today we're going to get started by going through a bunch of different brands so that you can find those accessories that best suit your needs. Now you may not know what best suits your needs yet, but again we'll get started with some of that too. If you haven't seen my top 5 must-have kayak accessories, go watch that video. It'll cover your PFD, your paddle, and those other vital accessories. Now we're just going to get into the stuff that's awesome to have with you while you're on the water to make your kayak fishing experience just that much better. Now 10 years ago when I started kayak fishing, we didn't have the accessories and fishing kayaks that we have today. We started out with the sit-in Walmart kayaks, a milk crate, couple rod holders, and we went and hit the ponds. Man, how things have changed. So in this video I'm going to list out all the brands you need to know when it comes to kayak fishing accessories. First up, Yakattack. Oh my goodness. Luther and the crew over at Yakattack over the last several years, hundreds of products to make your kayak fishing experience easier. Pretty much anything that you can think of that you might need for a fishing kayak, Yakattack has. From the lever lock anchor trolley, gear track mountable line for dropping an anchor. These two pair up nicely with a barbell dumbbell, or if you want to be cool, you can get yourself a weight from Da Bomb Anchor Company. If you want to be the next fishing YouTube superstar, Yakattack's got you covered with 3 different sizes of camera poles for your action camera. I like using this one up front. Sometimes I'll use this one up front for that little more extended view for when you're trying to hold up that really big bass. And then this monstrosity off the back end so you can get that really fine, long, wide camera view from behind you. One of the absolute best things about Yakattack is the way that their accessories work. Simply drop this base onto your gear track, drop your accessory onto the base, close it, but you can push in on this piece, lift it, and turn it any way you want it. I love this on my camera mounts because it lets me swing the camera around from different position to different position. But as you can see here, Yakattack also makes rod holder. Many other items that Yakattack makes, if they don't come with that base, they come with this piece that drops into the gear track and lets you screw it in. They also make landing nets, leveraged landing nets. This one here rests against your forearm, easy to deploy and scoop out that fish. The coolest person on the planet to use the Yakattack landing net is none other than Gene Jensen, the fluke master himself. Nobody makes the quick draw of the leverage landing net look as good as Gene does. If you fish kayak tournaments, you might be required to have a flag on the back of your kayak. And as you see, I've got this basic model that you can either stick in the rod holder or rod tube holder of my Old Town here, or screw it into the gear track. You can see here I was also required to have a 360 light on here, so I just zip tied one on to the top of this flag. But then Yakattack came out with something even better. A foldable storageable. This thing is so cool. This flag is actually the bag that you can store all this in. But it comes with the light here at the top, reflective tape, and again it's got the foam mount if you want to stick this in a rod holder or screw it into the gear track, but it comes apart just that easy for easy storage. If you do it like I do, you can just wrap the flag around, use the included bungee that's helped secure it to the kayak, and just fold it up like that and stick it in your black pack. Speaking of black pack, what's a black pack? Well, it's the modern replacement for the kayak crate. I'm still putting this one together because this is going to be my river kayak crate, but has lockable hinges, so if anything happens, your lid is secure closed. Comes with a bunch of nice rod holders. The cool thing I like about this is after they came out with this black pack and people said, hey, I need something for rivers, which lets you mount this on the side of the kayak, attach your tether tube for it, And with this, you can actually squeeze in the little piece and rotate these tether turrets to the back so that you don't have to deal with overhanging trees. Pure genius. But again, just awesome innovation from Yak Attack. And don't worry about this thing hitting any rod tubes that you put on the back. The hinge is actually built so it can only go back so far without hitting any rods that are sticking up on there. I've actually got the 16x16 of this version right over here on the Yakattack. But they make tons and tons of kayak accessories. Definitely visit their website, and man, it's never ending. Another thing I love is, you know, they think about things, and you know, they may not be the first to market with something, but they bring other things to market that are something that was well thought out of. Cam straps. You should always use cam straps instead of ratchet straps on your kayaks. And the thing I like about what they did here was they added this rubber protective piece, so when it fits against the side of the kayak, it doesn't, like with the metal ones, rub in and out and take off some of the material from your kayak. They actually protected this. But these are great for lashing your kayak to the back of your truck, your rooftop, your trailer, however you're transporting your kayaks. They literally have an accessory for everything. They've also got double paddle holders, which are great for carrying your paddles, or in my case, you can drop a catch board in there and then also replace the knob that comes with it with one of their base mounts, which again lets me mount my camera to that front section. It's so awesome. And I actually took one of their basic fish finder mounts, flipped it upside down to hold the pole for my Mega Live that goes with my Humminbird Helix 10. So many different uses from accessories from Yak Attack. Next up is Yak Gadget, another person who started out making kayak accessories. Tons and tons of options. The first one I ever picked up and tried out from them was the Low Pro Kayak Crate. I loved this thing when I first got into kayak fishing, because for me, with my bad back, it was really kind of hard when I first got into kayaks to turn around and deal with the standard kayak crates or even lids and things like that. But I loved the fact that this was like a 45-degree angle crate. I could easily twist around and pull out my plain old 3700 boxes or plastic bags full of other soft plastic. They also make seat bags like the one I have on the back of my Old Town. Another one of my favorites is this cup holder with an accessory rail on it. You can actually, it's got holes drilled in so you can hang your chatterbaits or your spinnerbait, jigs and things like that when you're done using them. It's got slots for scissors and pliers, and you can even fit a pair of fish grips in here. They've also got what they call flex rod storage, which lets you store your rods horizontally, as well as paddles, push poles, parking poles. They've also got an array of fish finder mount, and something that was really cool from them, they've actually got bump board holders that you can attach to either the gear track or the side of your kayak crate. They've got a couple of different styles there. Next up is Navarre Fishing. Oh my goodness. Nick has really blown his business up over the last few years. Nick is a fishing guide who uses a lot of Old Towns in his fleet and had some various needs over time and started making his own products, and then people found out and said, dude, you got to start a store. And he did. Some of the first things right off the bat, the first thing I ever bought was this floating replacement nut for your Old Town PDL or Minn Kota drive. Anybody who's been fishing with a pedal or motorized kayak for any amount of time has either broken a prop, got line caught in it, had issues, and needed to replace it while they were out on the water. And the worst thing that can happen when you're changing your prop on the water is you drop the prop nut into the drink or the wrench that you used. So he actually made 3D printed twist-on nuts. This was a later one. Prior, he had a one that you can like use a floating prop wrench. But then he came out with these twist-ons. Must have if you have a pedal or powered kayak. And be sure to grab a couple extra spare props too, just in case. From there, it took off. He's made seat risers for the Old Towns, replacement handles like this one, because they're a little more robust than the one that comes with the kayaks. And if you use cam straps on the handles that come on your Old Towns, they're not very solid at all. These are really, really tough. Plus, he even took the time and thought about it and put a hole in here and a fitting for that T-track so that you can actually add those Yak Gadget and Yak Attack accessories to these handles. I mean, the first time I saw anybody use this was when they were mounting one of the horizontal rod racks to stretch out and have 4 different rods that folds in and out. And having this on the handle gets it just a little farther away from the kayak makes it really nice. If you've ever had a problem with waves coming over your kayak and filling up your rod tubes, or if you're somebody who leaves your kayak stored outside and you have it rain and it fills up your rod tubes, he actually has covers for closing those holes when you're not using it. He also has a rod blank kit that lets you take out that rod tube and put in a blank or a small accessory rail if you want to run a camera off of it. And another popular item he has is a scupper transducer mount. Makes it really easy for mounting your transducer in the old towns with that front center scupper plug. Super simple install. I'll link that video down in the description under the Navarre section. Next up is One Objective, and while I haven't used any of their products yet, many people I know have. If you're wanting to motorize a paddle kayak, their trolling motor mounts are the way to go. They make trolling motor mounts for the bow and the stern. They have kits for certain models of kayaks for under-seat storage. They have in-hole mounting plates for various kayaks if you're running those forward-facing units. And they have mounts for transducer poles. Next up is Yak Power, and if you're looking to add power management for your kayak accessories, lots of good stuff. They have switching panels so you control the power to several different accessories. I've got the 5-switch panel for controlling my Helix head unit, my Mega Live imaging transducer. I've got lights, the green and red for the front outside of the kayak. I also have a set of lights inside of the kayak if I got caught out after dark. And then the 5th switch is for everything else. My Minn Kota navigation puck and my USB ports for powering my action cameras when we're out on the water. Next up is Yak Hobby, one of my favorite newcomers to the game, making 3D printed transducer mounts for all of your favorite types of kayaks. And I really love these. It doesn't matter what kind of transducer kayak you have, he has a solution for you. For example, my Old Town Sportsman model for when I had the Garmin unit mounted on here. I have this one for a small Helix 5 that's going to go on one of these Sportsman 106 kayak. Replaces the mount that comes with the kayak and does for me a far superior job. And if you have questions about the side imaging using a mount like this, each one of these Yak Hobby mounts that I've used has been perfectly located within the kayak so that the beams of the side imaging work perfect no matter what you're using. I've tried out the Garmin, I've tried out the Humminbird, perfect side scan all the time. The great thing about the Old Towns is there's enough out from the sides that doesn't hinder any of the side imaging, and this tucks it so far up in the hole that you can drag these kayaks up the boat ramp and not damage them at all. Love, love, love these Yak Hobby transducer mounts. And he also makes a variety of other accessories, and he's adding more to the store every day. Last but not least, a new player in the kayak accessory market, known mostly for making the boards that we use in our bass fishing tournaments. Catch has launched a new line of kayak accessories, and if you're an Old Town owner, man, you are going to love this. First, they came out with a heavy-duty kayak cart built like a tank. Let me tell you, that thing it's a heavy-duty cart meant for hauling fully loaded fishing kayaks to wherever you need to get them to. Next up is the new Catch, I'm going to say it wrong, the new Catch X Yaktrack, aluminum gear track for your Old Town kayak. If you've got multiple fish finders, forward facing, those heavy items that tend to wobble on a kayak, you might need some heavier duty gear track than what comes with your standard Old Town. And they made these to go on the front and back. But an aluminum machined gear track for your Old Towns. These things are going to be, I need to get my order and I haven't done it yet and I need to. They also make aftermarket steering knobs for a lot of the ones that come with the kayaks these days are kind of plastic, can get banged up. Something I've got to get an order in on. They've come out recently with flush mount rod tube deletes, again with the little gear track on the top of it. The previous ones I had were 3D printed and just not strong enough. These machined rod tube deletes are going to be perfect for my Yakattack camera poles for when I'm out doing my YouTube videos on the water. And recently they've started to come out with bow and stern mount trolling motor mounts of their own design to help those of you who may have started out with a pedal or paddle kayak and you want to get into having a trolling motor on the back or on the front. Those XI3s, Newport motors, and Torqeedos for powering your kayaks up and down the rivers. We know how it is when you're out and you can get in a river with a strong current. Having that little extra juice to get you back upstream makes a big difference on a tournament day. And this is just a little touch of all of the kayak accessories out there. I'll drop links down to each of these brands in the description below. Some of them have Amazon shops, so that way if you're shopping with Prime, you can save a little of that money on shipping. But for each brand, I'll go through and list some of my favorite accessories that I've used in the past, and you can visit their websites to find even more. Now, for many of these brands, I have installation videos where I've used various products, and I'll drop those in under each of the different brands out there if you want to see how I installed all these various accessories. Now, this is a very broad video covering a lot of different brands and various accessories from each of those brands. If you haven't seen my video on the first 5 kayak accessories that you have to have, I'll drop a link to that right here. If you want to see a walkthrough of how I rigged out my Yak Attack, I'll drop a link to that right here. Any comments or questions, drop them down below. Until next time, get outside when you can and make some memories. One cast at a time.